Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Fire Sword Bard build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. So we're going to be multi-classing this with either the Paladin or the Fighter. This is extremely strong because we're going to be taking advantage of the nice abilities that fire damage can provide. So, as for the cantrips, always take Vicious Mockery. This is an awesome one, gives a disadvantage on the next attack roll. This is one of the best cantrips in the game. You can also use Minor Illusion to group enemies together for a fireball, which is really nice. And as for our spells at level 1, Healing Word is nice to give a bonus action heal to pick up a downed ally. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is another really nice one, leaves the creature prone. I also really like Dissonant Whispers, frightens a creature, does have disadvantage on ability text and attack rolls, and they cannot move, so that's really good for just disabling the enemy. And you can go with Longstrider, but you can also have someone at camp cast this on you. I'm a big fan of Thunderwave for the pushback, so we're going to go with that. And as for our ability score, we want to have our charisma pretty high. Now, this does require a few different stats, so we're going to be going with a decent bit of constitution just for survivability, but also take your constitution. It'd be best to have your constitution up to like 14, 16 dexterity. You can take down the charisma and then put the rest of the points into something like strength there. Although if you're the face of the party, you can use the Hag's here, take your charisma to 17, use the Hag's here to take it to 18. So that's another option you can go with there. And for our skill proficiencies, I think it's best to have acrobatics just to survive or resist being shoved. And you can also take sleight of hand or stealth. That's another couple options you can go with. But deception and persuasion are two ones if you're going to be talking to a lot of people that you want to have. I'll be going over the best gear options at the end of this video to make this a very powerful build, but at level 2, we get ourselves a Song of Rest and the Jack of All Trades, so we add half our proficiency bonus to ability checks we're not proficient in. And we can take another spell here. Speak with Animals is okay, but you can use the potion of Speak with Animals. It's kind of the best way to do it. Disguise Self actually has some really nice benefits, because you can disguise yourself as like a Gith and get the benefits of Gith weapons. Now, we're going to be obviously going with the College of Sword. This gives us the Flourishes as our main and damage option. So, Slashing Flourish lets us attack 2 targets at once. Same with the Range Slashing Flourish. So these two are a big source of our damage, giving us extra damage here. And then we also have the Defensive Flourishes, which will increase our armor class, and the ones that give us movement so we can teleport to the target with a Mobile Flourish. These are all really great. Now for our level 2 spells, I think Heat Metal just makes the most sense in this. I am going to take Hold Person because I think Hold Person is better to get earlier on. So we'll take Hold Person, and for our fighting style, we can go with dueling or 2-weapon fighting. I think 2-weapon fighting just makes the most sense here, adds our ability modifier to the damage of our attacks in the offhand, making them just as strong as our main hand attacks. Now, for our cantrips, Mage Hand is really solid just to give yourself something to throw oil pots with. And for our spells, we are going to take Heat Metal now. So this fits in theme with the Fire build, gives disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks, so we're going to be setting up disadvantage on the enemy very frequently. For our feat, there's a few ones that make a good choice here. Like Savage Attacker always is good when we're doing melee attacks. Rerolls damage dice twice and gives us the higher result. I think it's actually good to go with... also Alert is good. +5 initiative is always useful. But I think the best one here is an ability improvement to take our charisma up to 18. This is going to benefit us with giving us a higher spell save DC. Better stats for attacking... or better stats for when we're talking to people. And... at level 5, we get the improved Bardic Inspiration, goes up to 1d8, and we can regain all of our Bardic Inspiration after a long or short rest. That's awesome, so it gives us much more Bardic Inspiration. And we get to take Glyph of Warding, which is another fire spell that doesn't require concentration. We can drop this down on the ground, and then the enemies can take fire damage from it, so that's really nice too. So, yeah, the Bard gets its level spike at level 6 as opposed to level 5, because now we get our extra attacks. So this gives us the ability to do 2 slashing flourishes, and we can also use the Paladin Smite to smite too, which is kind of cool. We also get Counter Charm, so any allies within 9 meters have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. I don't use this that often, because Charm is not often something to worry about. Since I usually like taking Plant Growth, but this will get destroyed by fire, so it doesn't actually mesh with this build very well. So something like Fear is really good, because this hits in a cone, and it makes the enemies drop their weapons and gives disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. So that can be pretty good too. I think that works very well on this build. At level 7, we get our next leveled spell, and I think that Confusion and Greater Invisibility are 2 ones that we definitely want to take. With the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, we can cast these both as bonus actions. I'm a big fan of Greater Invisibility. Attacks event. It gives us advantage on our attacks and gives the enemy disadvantage on their attacks, so that can be really useful. At level 8, we will take Confusion. This is like the fireball of crowd control. And then for our next feat, you can go with Sharpshooter. Some people find a lot of benefit to Sharpshooter, but we want to stack Arcane Acuity, so dropping our, giving us a penalty to attack rolls is not ideal on that, so it's something that you might not want to take, but you can take for extra damage. Alert is huge, but I'm actually just going to take Charisma up to 20. I just think that that's one of the best choices, especially if we're going to be using some spells that we'll be getting into. Now, at level 9, we actually get Hold Monster, one of the best spells in the game. Paralyze a creature, can't move, act, or react. Attacks within 3 meters are always critical hits. Similar to Hold Person, this can allow us to hold anything that's not undead. At level 10, this is our big power spike, because we get our Bardic Inspiration up to 1d10. We get some skills, so we can take our Acrobatics up to a +9, and then take our Intimidation up to +11. For the cantrips, Friends. If you're the face of the party, you should take Friends a bit earlier, but for our next leveled spell, you could go with Dominate Person or Planar Binding. Not the best spell choices, but we can use them as bonus actions. It's kind of a Hail Mary. Now, for our magical secrets, I usually go with Cone of Cold, but this is not in tune with this build, so we're going to take Conjure Elemental. And this gives us the ability to summon in a Fire Elemental, which is actually pretty big for us. But the next option depends. Do we want to use a Concentration Wall of Fire, or do we want a Fireball? Because Fireball just does straight up more damage and doesn't require the concentration, but Firewall can give us the ability. You could take both of them and not take the Elemental, but I'm going to go with this here. I think that this works very well for the purposes of this build. We could also go with Scorching Ray if you want to use Scorching Ray, but I think Fireball just is the better option because it hits in a huge area. So we're going to take that for our magical secrets, and for the final 2 levels, we can add a bit more fire to us. You can take Fighter to get an extra fighting style and then also get Action Surge. I think it's best to go with the Paladin, Oath of Vengeance, giving us the Inquisitor's Might, 5 radiant damage, and can daze enemies for 1 turn. And dazed enemies will have a weakness to the saving throw of Hold Person. So this works really well on this build, actually. So Oath of Vengeance, Paladin, and then for the next level, we'll take our Fighting Style Defense for +1 armor class. And then for our prepared spells, we want Searing Smite. This gives us 1 Fire Smite, which is kind of nice. We also got Thunderous Smite, Wrathful Smite. Divine Favor bonus action radiant damage is okay. Command is a big one too. This is another enchantment spell we can cast as a bonus action. And Compelled Duel is okay. Bless is okay. Heroism's pretty okay, or even Cure Wounds. Shield of Faith. Really, the big one we want is Searing Smite for the fire damage and Command. So that's what we'll take there. So we also get the ability to do Divine Smite. So this actually gives us some pretty cool options. I got a nice fire on my back there, so with this, I got the Helmet of Arcane Acuity. When we deal damage with a weapon attack, you gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. Arrow of Many Targets will allow us to stack +10, and then our Band of the Mystic Scoundrel allows us to cast a bonus action illusion or enchantment spell. So that's Tasha's Hideous Laughter, that is Vicious Mockery, that is Hold Person, that is Dissonant Whispers, that's Greater Invisibility, Confusion, Tasha's Hideous Laughter again, and Hold Monster. So we got lots of options, which is incredible. Like, look at that spell list. That's crazy. I also went with the Armor of Agility for the 20. We get 24 armor class. That's pretty solid with the Cloak Protection, Evasive Shoes, and the Ring of Protection. But we can also swap this out for like Killer Sweetheart for more damage, or if you like the Ring of Free Action to not be bothered by difficult terrain, since we don't get any benefit to that. And you could also even use the Nightwalker, Disintegrating Nightwalkers. It doesn't let us slip on ice. Can't be unwebbed, and we get Misty Step. I got the Helldust Gloves. This gives us an additional 1d6 fire damage. This just makes sense on this build, dealing more fire damage. And then also I got a Flame Blade. You can make a permanent Flame Blade. As you can see, it does up to 44 damage, which is just insane. You do have to hire a Druid, upcast it, and then dismiss the hireling. I got a whole video on my channel. So if you don't want to go that route, we can use something different for the main hand weapon. I just went with that just because I thought it would work pretty well for the extra damage. But we can go with like the Falar Alluve there, and then in the offhand we can go with the Belm. I'm a big fan of Belm because this gives us a bonus action attack. I guess I don't have the ability to do that because they're not both light. We can go Rhapsody. Rhapsody is pretty solid, or even like the Knife of the Undermountain King is another good choice because this will give us an increased critical hit chance, which works really well in this build if I can find it. Or even the Sacred Star is kind of nice. It doesn't let us multi-hand it, but yeah, let's go back to the Flame Blade because that looks really cool. And you can go with an offhand Flame Blade. You can actually make 2 of them. I guess you have to have the dual wielder perk because they're... Oh, for some reason it's not letting me dual wield them. They're light weapons. Oh, there we go. So dual flame blade, they both deal upwards of 44 damage, which is crazy. And I got a guide on that on my channel. But Hellfire hand crossbow is pretty nice too, because it possibly inflicts burning while we're invisible, and we can stealth with the armor of agility. And this will deal additional damage to burning targets. So typically what we want to be doing for combat is we want to get our greater invisibility up, so we can cast that. And then we can also bring in our Conjure Elemental. So you got the choice if you can do it a Fire Myrmidon. The Fire Myrmidons are great, but I'm just going to use the level 5 spell for... I lost my concentration for some reason there, but the Fire Elemental is pretty decent. It gets a multi-attack there with fire damage. It has Smoldering Touch, can burn the target, and it has an Erupting Cinder, so it can actually drop fireballs too. So the Fire Elemental works really well here, because it can give us a bit of extra fire damage and a multi-attack, which is nice. So you can see there, it actually almost killed Halsin in one go. The Fire Elemental is pretty underrated, but the Fire Myrmidon is pretty good too. We can also go with like the Glyph of Warding Fire, so that gives us another fire attack there. Unfortunately, that started combat, so yeah, we got to deal with that now. But yeah, the nice part about this build is we get so many options for damage. So Halsin's down, we got ourselves there, and we got attacks like Heat Metal for some extra damage there. We got Searing Smite. We got any type of smite, honestly, that will deal a ton of, like Divine Smite, upwards of 60 damage at level 1. And I can just run over here. There's water on the ground, so she's wet. I guess I'll run around this way. I guess I can jump there. I can't jump. But basically what we want to be doing is using our smites as much as possible. Searing Smite will give us extra fire damage, which is nice, but even just a fireball is pretty great for damage. And I'll show you, the Divine Smite with radiant damage is really good, but what we can do is we can go with a mobile flourish or a slashing flourish there. With slashing flourish, we can attack twice, and that's really great. And we can also attack twice with our crossbows. So what we can do with a slashing flourish is we can actually smite with our slashing flourish. So this can deal upwards of 84 damage, which is just crazy. So critical miss, of course. But being able to slashing flourish and hit with a critical hit, that was insane amount of damage. 42-26, so we one-shot Jaheira there. This build gets pretty crazy. The Fire Bard is quite strong, and then as a bonus action, we can do things like Confusion, so crowd control as well. And oh, he used Counterspell on us. So Mizora cast failed Counterspell. So yeah, we get the bonus action, greater invisibility. Like you can see all these options. We can even do Bless as a bonus action if you really wanted to. I think Command, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and Confusion, and Hold Person being the best bonus action options. So those are pretty good, but that is a Fire Sword Bard build in Baldur's Gate 3. If you found this video useful, please hit that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.